Hello, Kayla.
Hello, Kenzie Brenna.
How are you doing today, Kayla Logan blog?
I swear to God, every time you say that, it like,
You're in trouble.
A, it's hilarious, and B, it sounds like when your mother says your full name and you're like, she's going to beat my ass
Yeah.
right now. It's like throws a shoe at you.
Run to the
Um,
room.
right? Like, I'm doing good. I'm like knee deep in this documentary. No, it's not a documentary. Why am I lying? In this Netflix series called Your Honor. Oh,
I've never heard
so
of it.
good.
What
Oh
is
my God,
it?
I'll send you. It's about like this judge and his son murders by accidentally, like, no, I can't get into it. But anyways, he kills this kid when he like does a hit and run, and it turns out to be the son of the biggest mob family in New Orleans. And it is it's so good.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
good.
I
It's
love
so
stuff
good.
like that. That's
Oh,
awesome.
I love crime. I love a good murder. How are
Yeah.
you doing?
Why are women so absolutely obsessed with true crime? And I know that that's our whole thing of like people have said like, yeah, it's cuz like, we fear getting murdered so we want to watch it. I don't
Right? We might
know.
as well
Is that
know like how predators are going to come at us.
I also just think that we find that interesting. Like I think human beings just find fucked up shit interesting.
Well, I mean, you're talking to someone who has a criminology BA, so I
You
love it.
are one of the only people in my life that I could text any photo,
Mhm.
video, or hypothetical situation to, and you would be game to watch or think
Yeah,
about it or look at it. I would, any,
same with you. Yeah.
you, yeah, it's like, you're the only one. I have sent you the worst TikToks I have ever seen in my life. Just horrible things. And you
Yeah.
have thoroughly watched them and responded. And
Yeah, you always match energy too.
and you have sent them right back. And you
Yeah.
always manage to send me things that I find are horrible. I'm like, "Why are you sending me this?" And you're like, "Because you hate it." That's your answer. Because I know you don't like it. So you do have a little troll side. It is my favorite.
I think like the worst one though was like the animal testing for the cosmetic companies. Like even that I was like, why did we go there? Like why did we go there?
You and I ended up vegan for one night
I
because of
believe
those
it.
videos. Well,
Like the stuff we send each other sometimes, like it's
y-
dark.
it is really dark. I also just am really nervous about people hearing that we went vegan for a night and then we're not vegan. I would like to say that Kayla and I are heavily plant-based people and
Yes.
we don't believe in animal. I know I'm like shit got real really fast right now.
I'm like, oh my God, don't cancel
Yeah,
us.
don't
But
cancel
also,
us,
we don't
guys.
believe in cancel culture.
Also, we've
So,
canceled ourselves, so like it's fine.
yes,
It's
exactly. We do
fine.
it privately. We call each other in and out.
In and out and through and I'll call myself to the side sometimes.
Yep.
Not an in, not an out, but just a little to the side.
I'm just
A little
picturing a belly button going in all these
Oh my
directions.
god, I literally thought the same thing. I was like, what does a belly button look like going just to the side? We know that there's one out there that's like that.
That's what we're
Multiple.
Googling
Millions.
tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to look up different belly buttons after this. Absolutely.
Oh my God, send them to me.
So, today's
Okay.
episode, we are
Yes.
also going to be talking about things that we find interesting in pop culture in the last few
Yep.
weeks. And we've got a couple of spicy topics, which
Ooh,
I'm
baby.
really excited about and I'm a little bit nervous because
Ooh.
I really want to make sure that we're just being as thoughtful and as mindful as possible. And I get nervous
Hmm.
that people don't trust that you and I always come from a good place. And I think that
Wow.
that's the part of me that feels like I struggle with like the hyper intense social justice warrior culture that's like you have
Yes.
to be politically correct and perfect at all times.
Yep.
But like what we're about to talk about, we're going to talk about like Ozempic and weight loss in celebrities at the Grammys. We're going to talk about Gwyneth
Yep.
Paltrow and we're going to talk about Hailey and Selena and some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, we're just going to it's not going to be entirely politically correct.
No, and I think the whole point of this podcast is like we're two best friends who speak about this stuff in private. These are our opinions, and we're just bringing this out on a podcast. And we're human, we're imperfect, we're going to make mistakes. Not everyone's going to agree with us. And sometimes that's going to hurt our little hearts. And we're also trying not to be people pleasers at the same time in therapy. So we're just doing the best that we can. So hopefully you'll take some of it with a grain of salt, or this will be beneficial to you as well. Or maybe you'll just laugh a lot at us with
God, yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Laugh at me or with me. I'm good. Either way. Let's go. I'm good.
Yeah. Little humor.
Let's start off with the Grammys
Okay.
that happened. I personally, I don't know.
That happened.
And that happened. I love award shows. I always
Mm,
have. I love the red carpet. I do. I love people
yes.
in fancy shit. I
Mhm.
love watching what celebrities show up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I love
Please do.
judging them. I love judging them.
Ooh.
I wish that I could be on the sides being like, I don't really like that dress. I don't really like her hair. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? And not that everyone who shows up isn't so drop dead beautiful and just like so stunning and gorgeous and all those things. But I always have like I have a nicer little Tyra Banks that like lives inside of me. That's just like, oh, why don't you smize? Why aren't you smizing?
A nice little Tyra Banks. I just pictured a miniature Tyra in your pocket. Just being like, smize, baby. Now, would you want to do this like as in interviewing these celebrities and judging them for television viewers? Is that what we're talking about here?
I don't think that I would want to interview them. I think I would just want to be on the sidelines with like Andre Leon Talley and Tyra Banks and Anna Wintour, and just for us to like sit there and be like, yes. And me with like my little like teacup, and I would like pretend like I know exactly what I'm talking about regarding each designer. And really, I don't know anything about anything, but I just know who looks good and who doesn't.
I like love who you decided to choose that you'd love to talk about these topics with, and the extensive knowledge you have on this. This
Thank you.
also brings me to a moment where Kenzie told me, she's like, yeah, the one fashion event I've always dreamed of doing would be just to go to the Met Gala. And I was like,
You
why?
looked at me with almost disgust.
I was
You were
so
like, yeah,
confused.
you looked at me and you were like, the Met Gala? Because Kayla, for people who don't know, Kayla is extremely, extremely educated in fashion. You have been in the fashion world. You have
Thank
educated
you.
yourself. You do. And I don't think it's something that actually people online really understand about you, that you constantly are reading articles and watching videos online about stuff in fashion that is like super niche and really important. Everything from like
Mm,
numbers to inclusivity to trends to fabrics. Like
mm,
you are extremely knowledgeable. So it makes sense, everyone. It makes sense that me, who literally wears the same thing every single day, who actually has no clue about anything to anything, why Kayla would be incredibly perplexed that I would want to go to the Met Gala. That all makes sense. I understand. But here we are, and I'm going.
I bet you will though. Like with that level of confidence, like you're going. You just
Look,
need some Ozempic.
I just,
Oh my God, I'm
it's
joking. You
true.
don't need
No,
it. You don't need it.
no, that's funny. That's
I just feel
funny.
like it's going to sponsor it next year, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? The red carpet is going to have like Ozempic, Wegovy, like all over it. It's just going to be totally branded. Every celebrity is going to, you know how in some Netflix shows the
Yeah.
characters will be like walking around and then all of a sudden you'll see like Maybelline, or like all of a
Yeah.
sudden you'll see like
Yeah.
Aquafina water or vitamin
Hmm.
water. It's going to be like that with
Yeah.
Ozempic. Someone's going to be like, sorry guys, I just have to open up my fridge to get a drink. And they're going to open it. It's just going to be like a Ozempic. It's just going to be like a box that says Ozempic on it. And you're going to close it. I'm like, sorry, I closed that now. And here we are back in conversation. They're going to start product placement
That's
everywhere.
exactly it.
Oh
Well, like
God.
SNL did a whole skit the night before the Oscars, and they were saying like this year's Oscars is brought to you by Ozempic, and like Jimmy
Oh.
Kimmel like opened up the Oscars with that joke. Like I can tell like a lot of you are taking Ozempic tonight.
Oh my God.
So like they're there already.
Oh my God. Wait. This whole time I was saying Grammys, but did I mean Ozempic? Wait, did I mean?
Wait,
Wait.
isn't it the
Oscars.
Oscars?
The Oscars.
Is it the
Did
Oscars?
I think I said Grammys. Oh. Okay, everyone. Sorry. Didn't mean to say the Grammys. If I did, my bad. We are
Yep.
talking about Oscars 2023, and I didn't realize that Jimmy Kimmel made an Ozempic joke because it feels very clear that there are a lot of celebrities who have lost weight and who walk the red carpet.
Yeah, exactly. And something that I thought was interesting is that, like, a lot of these dresses that the people wear, these celebrities wear on the red carpet, are sample dresses and sample sizes. So, this is just something I watched on a TV show a few years ago. I don't know if it's still true, but apparently, if they don't fit into a very specific size, and a lot of them were like starving themselves in order to get to those sizes like weeks before the awards, then they don't actually have a dress to wear. So I guess like taking Ozempic would be a much easier road instead of just feeling constantly hungry and fatigued, where this actually suppresses your appetite so they can fit into those dresses. Because either way, those dresses aren't being made larger for them.
Wow, that makes me really sad that they wouldn't fit a dress for a person, but that a person would have to fit. Like I guess it's a both and I guess like the dress would
Hmm.
or something like what maybe it's not a dress, whatever. This outfit would potentially fit someone's body, but it would be better for them to lose weight to also fit into it.
Yeah, like my understanding is like some of them were samples, some of them came off the runway. That's why like plus size people like are really limited in the styles that they have. I think some are custom, but like I don't believe that anyone is keeping these gowns. And if they are, like these are very, very expensive gowns and they have so many awards to go to. And it's not like you're wearing off the rack. You're wearing the best for the award show and you're wearing like the designers need to repurpose them afterwards.
And so it being a sample size makes sense then.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine like knowing that you have an award show coming up and if you don't fit into like a size two, then like you're not being dressed for it. Like, period.
Wow. And did you watch the red carpet of the Oscars?
I absolutely did not, did you?
But did you see photos or like videos on TikTok or anything like that of it afterwards?
I definitely did not. Did
That's
you?
okay. Yeah, but again, like it's just because I'm obsessed with red carpets and I'm obsessed to see like what people are wearing. And I watched it and I did sort of feel like, and this is the part that isn't going to be politically correct. I did
Mhm.
notice the weight loss. I did.
Did you?
I just did. Yeah. And I don't want to sugarcoat that. I want to name what feels real. And it just feels like we are edging back into this thin is best standard. And I hate it. And I am noticing it more and more of the fact that it just feels like a lot of these A-listers and B-lister celebrities are losing a lot of weight.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And there's like a reason why I can't watch red carpets right now because I find they really like affect my mental health. I did see some photos and I think we are really like cheering on extremely thin beauty ideals. But I feel like that's been happening for many seasons now. Like we're going back to heroin chic or the lollipop heads, as I like to call them, on those really thin bodies. And I think it's really frightening the lengths that people are going to go to now to fit into that mold because I
Mm,
remember like we grew up in that, like we grew up in that era of having to be that thin and that is not attainable. Like that looks like anorexia to me.
right, right. And Chelsea Handler ended up saying that her anti-aging doctor is just handing it out to anybody. And that's the issue that I really take with Ozempic is that I really want to honor people's agency and they can do what they want with their bodies. And also, there are some choices that are made with more ethics attached to them and some that aren't. And the vanity that celebrities have, that these specific celebrities have to just be thin and be incredibly sculpted and to look a
Hmm.
certain way is not a good ethic or value to have. It's just not. And fat people taking Ozempic because they're struggling with their health and
Yeah.
they don't know what to do and they're like they need help is a
Hmm.
different story than all of these celebrities showing up 20 pounds thinner in 2023 and everybody in Hollywood taking Ozempic because they just want to look thin and beautiful. Like, that's shit. That sucks.
I agree with you, like morally and ethically, but like I don't honestly think we should have any expectation of them. Like this is Hollywood. This has always
Mm,
been Hollywood. Hollywood has always had unreal expectations of beauty and they've done whatever it takes to get there, whether that's going to be an injection, a pill, plastic surgery. The wellness industry there is absolutely insane. It's insane what celebrities have access to, what they can get prescribed to them. In some ways this feels safer than a lot of the other options that they would go to, like considering like minimally invasive surgery like liposuction. I don't think there are morals and ethics when it comes to Hollywood, to be honest, because you think about child actors, like they've got babies getting like Botox and lip injections to fit into roles. Like people are there to become successful in Hollywood, and you need to do whatever that takes, whether you agree or not with that.
yeah, absolutely. Well said. And I think that you nailed sort of a hard truth is that Hollywood is like a different world.
Yeah.
And I think that leads into and segues
Yes.
into Gwyneth Paltrow breaking the internet once again. But before we get into her, I'd like to ask a super honest question. Do you ever feel sad when this type of stuff is happening? Like when losing weight, because this is a cycle, right?
Mhm.
Losing weight becomes trendy. Then there's a counterculture of body positivity, plus size, curvy people. And then it goes back to weight loss is trendy, being thin. Like I've noticed this over the last 5 years. Like we kind of like
Yeah.
we hit chapters, right? And they open and close and open and close.
Mhm.
And but do you ever like pause and have like a moment of grief when you watch celebrities show up to the red carpet events and they all look 20 pounds thinner?
I think this is like a really challenging question because I think we've been raised in this society to expect it. And it's almost to the point where I'm personally numb to it. Like I
Mm,
just feel saddened and I'm numb to it. And I spent a lot of time in LA, and it's like this dystopian world where that is really how people look. And I think something that really upset me from this red carpet, and I remember talking to you, there's a trans actor who's incredible. I love. They were on Euphoria. It's something Schaefer. Do you know their name?
Hunter Schafer?
Yeah, and
Yes.
they like so beautiful, but they wore this two-piece gown and the skirt was like this sleek, silky white to the ground, and then they had a feather covering their nipples. That's it. It was a feather covering nipples and tied up in the back.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
that's where it really like smacked me in the face that like thin 90s models were back, because that was so celebrated, that outfit. And I personally wouldn't call it an outfit because it was a feather on nipples. And we can't even see that on Instagram for fat people. And I couldn't
Yeah.
like yes, the body is beautiful. It fit every beauty standard. And I knew that if a fat person ever showed up in something like that, that would be considered disgusting. But it
Mm.
was beautiful because it was a very thin person. How did that make you feel when I shared that image with you?
Yeah, I hear everything that that you said, and I feel very similarly to it. I'm not numb to it the same way that you are,
Okay.
but that makes sense that your body at a certain point is just like, I just can't even care. Like, you know, like
Mhm.
I can't even get any type of emotion from this because what do we expect? And I think that I guess I always expect better and I shouldn't, but I agree with you in terms of Hunter Schafer's dress outfit. It was more of an outfit. It was like a two piece. First of all, she looked hot as fuck. I saw her and
Right?
I was like, Jesus, you look amazing. If I ever wore anything that low cut and I just had a
Mhm.
feather covering my nipples, my body would be censored.
Yeah,
And
100%.
that's the discrepancy and the difference here is
Mhm.
that those that type of body is still being
Mhm.
hailed as
Yep.
as the ideal, whereas our bodies, if we were to wear something like that, it would, of course, like our communities would support us, of course, but en masse our bodies are not supported like that and wouldn't be.
No.
If I showed up to the an after party, if I showed up to an Oscars after party,
Uh-uh.
if I showed up to Anna Wintour's house and was
Get
like,
out of here.
I don't know why Anna keeps coming up. I'm just like
You
obsessed
love
with,
her.
no,
Do
I
you have a
don't.
secret shrine to her in your house? Like, do you have
Stop.
praying candles for this?
Stop. I like just show up with the photo of her. She's always here. No, no, but if I just, yeah, I don't know why I guess I keep thinking of the Met Gala, but just the idea of if I showed up to anything wearing that little of clothing, like people would be, let's just call it what it is. People would be grossed out. People would be
Yep.
appalled. People would be offended.
Mhm.
There would be some people that would say, like, yes, queen, go. Like, you look amazing. But let's get real. Let's
Mhm.
get real. Not everybody would do that. And I remember Julia Fox saying on TikTok that somebody asked her because she was saying like low rise jeans are in. And somebody said,
Mhm.
like, well, I can't wear low rise jeans because I have like a tummy pooch. And she was like, tummy pooches are in. She's like, I want to see your tummy pooch. I want to see your hair on your body. I want to see. And it sounded so great. And I was like, a tummy pooch is different than being fat as well. Like some of
Yep.
us, some of us have guts. Some of us has
Right?
got a gut. Not it's not
Yes.
beyond a pooch, girl. Beyond a
It's not a
pooch.
pooch. It's not even
It's
just muffin tops anymore. It's like literally the whole muffin.
it's I'm the whole muffin tray. I'm not just a muffin. I am the tray of muffins.
I the tray.
Anyways, I hear you and our bodies like wouldn't be celebrated in the same way. Like straight up
Nope.
you're totally right about that. And I think the one other thing that I want to just lightly touch on,
Mhm.
and I'm really curious to hear your perspective on this
Oh shit. Okay.
before we get into Gwyneth. This is again going to be
Say
not the
it. Say
politic.
something
This is
so controversial. Do it.
I'm doing
Do
it.
it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
With all of this weight loss,
Yep.
I look at the celebrity women and I look at them and they look older. And that when I say that out loud, I feel like I need to defend what I say because I want to say, like, but they're still
Mm.
beautiful and all of those things. Because as soon as I say that,
Mhm.
older is a synonym for not attractive. Just the
Yep.
same way that, you know, the word fat can be a synonym for like ugly. Like we
100%. Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people have taken that word back as a neutral descriptor of a body and not a synonym for ugly or gross or anything like that.
Mhm.
But when I look at the weight loss and this whole that people the celebrities are like getting all of their, I don't know if anybody knows this, but
Mhm.
but so many of them are getting this fat removal in their cheeks, and so it's becoming this highly sculpted cheek. And I don't know if anyone notices, but everybody is aged about 10 years from that. I like look
Yeah.
at their faces and I'm like, you all look 35 or 40 in my head.
It's like
I'm like,
buccal fat removal. Yeah.
what are we? And this like I am so lost. I'm like, are you guys all good? Do you know that And I'm okay. Again, like, I feel like everyone's beautiful. I don't want to give that disclaimer and be constantly saying that, like, yeah, and they're all beautiful and they're all worthy. And I just want to call it what it is. It's just like, you guys are all looking like skinny and old.
I just need to say something. Okay, I have a friend and they were in treatment for an eating disorder and their cheeks really hollowed out. And now something that they need to get is injections to make their face less hollow. And that's something that causes them a lot of like insecurity.
Hmm.
So, why are we taking out fat from our face when so many people are struggling to have that in their face? And also, like, it makes me think of Coco Chanel, which I don't know if I like her or not because she was also like kind of like part of Nazi. It, you get what I'm saying here, right? Not cool.
Mm-hmm.
But she said you could either be thin or look young and be fat. So it's like people are always getting fat injected in their faces to look younger. Why are we removing it? Like, let's enjoy a little fat in our face. What's wrong with her? She's plump. She's juicy.
Yeah. I
She's youthful.
No, I just think it's something that's really I just am noticing interesting things. I'm noticing
Yeah.
that we are idealizing thinness and being youthful, and we are
Hmm.
taking things that might not be good for our bodies and then also removing fat from our faces, which is making us look older. Like, we're putting our
Yep.
body through these things, and this hyper sculpted anti
Hmm.
roundness thing that's happening, and this like extremely snatched trend that's going on with
Yep.
women's faces in
The
Hollywood
fox
is,
eye. Yep.
it's just not cool. It's just not fucking cool. And not that any of them will ever hear this, but I just wish I could say, like, you don't have to do that. Like,
No, it's just a trend.
you don't you don't have to do that. Yeah, and then all of the young girls that have big cheeks
Yep.
feel like fucking shit because they look up to Dove
Of course.
Cameron, or I don't even know. There's like so many of them that have gotten this like cheek removal thing. like,
They're just like removing huge chunks of cheeks and then just sewing them back up together like Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah, like Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. Like Leah Michelle has gotten it done.
What?
Yeah. Dove Cameron, Bella Hadid, Chrissy Teigen admitted to getting it done. These are people that, like, we look up to for certain things. And I don't know, it just,
Holy. I'm
lots of
looking them
people,
up right now.
yeah, it's a little bit sad. And maybe it shouldn't be, and maybe that's like wrong for me to say. And again, like, I just want to preface this with, you can do anything that you want to your body, you know? And maybe some people who are listening are going to, or maybe they're asking themselves, why do you notice so much? And I would love to also know the answer to that question. I don't know why I
Because
notice.
we're obsessed with social media. It's our livelihood. And we also
Let's segue into Gwyneth Paltrow.
let's segue into Gwyneth Paltrow.
So, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow ended up on a podcast a couple of weeks ago talking about her wellness routines and her life.
Hmm.
And Kayla and I saw that social media started losing its mind because Dr.
Yes.
Will Cole, who is one of her physicians or wellness doctors,
Yeah.
interviewed her, and she ended up saying that, like, she fasts for 14 hours, and then she'll start the day off with around 12 p.m. with
Hmm.
coffee or bone broth, and
Yep.
then she might have like a smoothie and then vegetables and protein, and then she is done, and then she's done, and then she starts fasting again. It was like something like that.
Yep.
And I saw everybody online talk about it, like all of the dietitians that I follow, all of the coaches, everybody like had something to say.
Hmm.
And I felt like a little need to kind of step in there and talk about why I thought that clip was just not great. But
Okay,
I
let's
was
hear
like,
it.
I kind of felt like the dietitians all said it for me. I was like, I'm not gonna add anything to this conversation, but I thought that the clip felt, I thought it was poorly chosen. And
Mm-hmm.
I ended up actually messaging Will because he and I follow each other. And
Yep.
he's the doctor who has, he's like worked with Gwyneth Paltrow before, and they kind of have gone through sort of like breaking the internet before. They did something similar back in like 2020, and it's a long story, and I'm not going to get into it on this episode, but he and I have DM'd before, and he's very, very, very kind, and he does listen. And I ended up messaging him after this happened, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to add to the mayhem. I want to know if
Yeah.
you're okay, because what
So
happens
sweet.
is, not everyone's going to think that, but what happens is when you put something out online that a lot of people don't like, your DMs flood so quickly with hate, and people,
Mm,
it's like people come out in numbers to tell you what they think of you and to tell you how much of a piece of shit that you are. And a person can only take so much. And regardless if I think that what he did was right or wrong or unethical or anything like that, I didn't want to add to that. I didn't want to add to like activating his nervous system or dysregulating him. Like I'm like,
mm-hmm.
that just doesn't feel good to me. And we didn't talk too much about the episode, but I was like, I do think that that clip was like poorly chosen. And
Yep.
I also think that like she was being interviewed for a podcast, and that's probably not a realistic day for her. Like I just straight up, I was like, no, that's not it. Like that's not it. She's not just eating that during the day. And if she is, then there should be a massive disclaimer or some type of, hey, this is not for everybody kind of thing, even though there wasn't.
Yep.
Anyways, so I'll pause there, but I would be so curious to know what you thought of the podcast, of that clip, or anything like that.
Yeah, so I actually ended up listening to the whole podcast. I wanted to get an idea if there was more information in it. And personally, I didn't get a ton from it. It seems to be that she eats according to paleo at night. She has lots of vegetables that are important for her detox. And yes, this is her like naturopath, I believe, doctor that she was talking to. She was talking about she goes to the sauna every afternoon or like after she eats lunch. She dry brushes. So just like really talking about her wellness. And she did say for most days, she either has bone broth, which is known to have a lot of like benefits. Like for example, like bone broth can be anti-aging because there's a lot of collagen in it. It can be good for digestion and gut health. It can help with like immune function and joint health and promote sleep. So yes, there are lots of benefits to it. And she also said she normally eats soups. So this is like an example of, an unhealthy what I eat in a day. I'm not going to sit there and be like she's anorexic or that this doesn't meet like national requirements for calorie intake. Um, I don't think this is personally sustainable for many people. She also does a ton of IVs to help with her nutrition and supplements. Speaking on the IVs, I love IV therapy. I'm going there. I love IV therapy. And so many people online were like, this is the most unrelatable thing I've ever seen. But like when you get into the wellness scene, like especially in California, this is very, very real. People go to IV bars and have memberships to them, and they make you feel amazing. And no, it's not a supplement for food either, nor should it be ever. But like, are they a nice bump? Yes, they make you feel great if you're lacking anything. She also did say that she has high levels of inflammation brought on by long COVID. So I feel like without accessing her medical records or knowing what she's really going through, it's not our place to judge because I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what food she's eliminating to try to be her healthiest self. But I also think that the wellness industry is the diet culture. It is the new diet culture, and it can be extremely harmful. And Gwyneth Paltrow is known to promote the most ridiculous things of life. I personally didn't make any comments on it online because, I mean, it's Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, she literally said that you should stick jade up your crotch for like 50 hours to heal. Like, this woman is down to try anything. Kudos. Like, you do you, boo. It's not my place to judge you. Do I think she should promote that? No, it's probably dangerous as hell. But like, she's got the money to do whatever she wants with her body. um Kenzie, did you end up listening to the whole podcast? And if you did, like, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, totally. I second everything that you said except for IV therapy because I've never done that before, but you
You would love
have, and
it.
I know you love it.
You would
You
love it. You would
you
love it.
love it. And I do think that Gwyneth is a particular person who likes
Mm,
particular things. And I listened to the whole episode because I wanted to give a bigger perspective on it than just that
yeah.
clip. I just didn't want to judge that clip. I was like, this is awful. And like,
Yeah.
it's, it is, yeah.
It's
So, anyways,
horrible. Yeah.
the whole episode, I think, is about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. And she says a lot of things in there that I do agree with. She talked about how it's really important for the Goop website to have sexual wellness products. That's
Okay. Yeah.
really amazing. That's really
Hmm.
important. She said something along the lines of we've been disconnected from our bodies, and for women and people who need to feel more empowered sexually, that's something that's really important to her. And I thought that was like
Hmm.
really great to say because
Yep.
sexual wellness and self pleasure is so stigmatized. And so to have someone in her place say that, I think is important because I do want women who look up to her to feel empowered to buy a fucking vibrator, touch the shit
Hmm.
out of yourself,
Amen.
get to know your
Preach.
body. I would love that. I'm like, don't just buy the don't just buy the vibrator. Buy the dildo too.
Yeah. By the anal beads.
Buy the fucking anal beads. Buy the anal beads, guys. Use my coupon code. I'm just kidding. I don't have one for you
Do you,
today, but I
you
do.
don't
That I do
put in the
usually.
notes?
But I do usually. And I thought that that was like really important and really great. And then she also talked about conscious uncoupling, which I didn't realize that her and Chris Martin were kind of one of the
Mm,
first the first people of that status to publicly talk about what does it look like to uncouple and center it around family and kids. And I thought that was
yeah.
really interesting. She
Hmm.
said that it invoked a lot of anger out of people who had gone through really harsh divorces,
Yeah.
children of divorce. And I thought that was interesting to hear, and it definitely made me feel a little bit like empathetic for some of the comments that I'm sure that she has gotten from people.
Yeah.
And then she also talked about being friends with your body, treating your body like it's your
Mm,
friend. And who could argue with that? That's like
I agree.
so beautiful. That's such a wonderful thing to look at your body like it's a friend.
Yep.
And I think that that's a place that's a bridge between like our community and Gwyneth Paltrow is that we can all
Yeah.
agree that it's important to treat your body like a friend. I also think that she was talking so much about like all of these things that she does for her wellness, and she's like, she was exposed to mold at a certain point and she's like
Yeah.
trying to detox herself, and she doesn't have a great detoxifying system in her body, and so she's doing all of these things. And I was like,
Hmm.
I guess I felt tired at the end of the podcast,
Hmm.
listening to everything that she does to help her body detox, that I'm like, you must live in the cleanest environment and you have
Yeah.
access to the quote
Hmm.
unquote best foods in the world. If you are still struggling, I don't, is there any help for any of us? That's what I kind of
No.
felt like. I was like, I'm just so
100%.
tired. Like this stuff just feels exhausting. And not that what she's doing, not that I would tell her to stop doing any of those things. I just was thinking at a certain point, I'm like, I just like don't even know if I would even spend the time like doing all of that stuff for myself if I was even in her position. Like I just think I
Yeah.
would just probably want to like read a book or like watch Netflix and like not spend so much time like constantly detoxing, quote unquote detoxing stuff from my body. Like I'm just lost at I'm like you live such a what are you detoxing from? Like you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't live in a heavily polluted neighborhood, you're not
Mhm.
up against toxic waste. Like what are you detoxing from? Hello, what are you detoxing from? That's like what I kind of kept wanting to sort of yell into the Gwyneth Paltrow ethos.
I think like I definitely hear you, and it's like frustrating to hear of someone who is taking care of their health and their mind to this level of cleanse, and it gives like orthorexia vibes. It does. And I've spent a significant amount of time in San Diego and LA, and this is the energy. This is the energy that's over there, and wellness is so important that I feel like even if you were detox to the point where your body does not need to detox anymore, it's so part of the culture, it's so embodied and ingrained that it's believed that you are almost morally superior if you continue to partake in these practices, and it's taking care of yourself, and that it's almost like some kind of moral virtue.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's like it's extremely important. Like it's a really important part of the culture in California.
I feel like that here as well in Vancouver. It's
Yeah,
like every single person that I know is absolutely obsessed with
they are.
yoga, Pilates, weight
Yep.
loss, making sure that they're
Hmm.
getting the newest and the best face stuff and like going
Yep.
constantly getting like facials and zapping themselves. And I'm just, I'm like,
The supplements, the
yeah,
colonics, the
yeah.
saunas. Like I've literally done almost all of that in California too. Like
Mm.
people are obsessed. They're like, we will heal your body using like holistic medicine, functional medicine. Like like you truly believe in this. You believe that it will heal your entire soul and every like complication you've ever had, like both mentally and physically through your like gut health and through every like new treatment. Like she's using ozone therapy up her butt right now.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
I don't even know. I have to look it up, but I was like, I don't know if it works. Like, why not try it?
What the hell is
It's-
ozone therapy? Like you're going up into the atmosphere and getting part of the ozone layer and then putting it in your body? Like what kind of acid trip is that?
Honestly, like at this point, I feel like even if it's a placebo, if that works for you, then do it.
But I just want to know like what
I
hippie was
don't
like, we're going to go up into the sky, we're going to get it, and then we're going to put it into our butts. Like
I
what
don't
is happening
I
to the
don't know,
world?
but they literally are finding everything you could ever imagine as a means of therapy.
It's called rectal insufflation. Uh, okay. And it
What is
decreases toxins found in the gut and body. Like, just drink some water. What is that? What is
And how
that
do they
though?
put it in? Do they put it in with
Kills
like a
bacteria,
probe?
parasites, viruses, and yeast. What is this? Well, rectal ozone therapy is essentially blowing ozone up where the sun don't shine.
Just blowing air up
Fuck's
your
sakes.
ass.
A variation of rectal ozone therapy is vaginal ozone therapy, which is everyone, we can like just debunk that right now. You actually like shouldn't be putting anything up again. Like, okay, fine. If you've got a doctor and your doctor's prescribing you something, sure. But like, don't put anything up. Don't put anything up your kuka. Just don't. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't care if Gwyneth is telling you to do it. Don't do it unless it's
Is
like
your
it's a
kuka your butt?
no. Kuka is your vagina.
What are these words you're using?
Your wagina, your
Your
kuka.
vagina?
Yes, your pichka, your chipka, your
Wha-
kuka. Chipka, I think, is Polish. I'm not quite sure. But just don't put anything up there because it's a self cleaning organ. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like don't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying like don't put
I know. I was
anything
like, what
up
about
there.
dildos?
No, but I mean like stuff for other parts of your body. Like, don't use the vagina for that. Like, the vagina is a self-cleaning, it's an organ. It's a self-cleaning organ. Leave it. Leave it alone.
Leave
Don't
it.
don't put ozone up there. Don't put what is happening with ozone? I'm so lost. Ozone is basic. Okay, it says here. Ozone is
Okay, yeah, what
basically
is it?
an oxygen molecule with another O added, another oxygen atom. That means ozone is a molecule with three oxygen atoms. Being around ozone can be much riskier than being in the friend zone. That extra O does make a big difference. Ozone is highly unstable and explosive in liquid or solid form. Perfect. Let's just put that right up the kuka and the anus. Let's just right
It
up
sounds like
there.
a great idea. I think I would try it.
Rectal ozone therapy, though, doesn't use liquid or solid forms of ozone. Instead, it uses ozone in its gaseous form. Gaseous?
Some of you are
Gaseous?
just like bloated and farting all day then?
I don't know. Which may potentially have therapeutic qualities. Why would you want this gas up your rectum? The thought is that ozone may have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and that it may improve the oxygenation of cells. I'm just like, guys, can you just like drink some water and eat some more fiber if you got to like take a dump? Like, what are you doing putting up triple O, triple oxygenated oxygen up your butthole? What are you
It's like a
talking about?
polyoxygen. Yeah.
It's a polytriglyceride oxygen. It's a trioxymorphon.
I can't even take this seriously right now. I'm like, I don't even fucking know what this conversation has turned into.
No, but seriously, it's a trioxygenated molecule made for us to try to antioxidize our cells. Like, stop. Like, just full stop. You know what? Let's just pivot right into Selena and Hailey. We're talking about buttholes. We might as well just segue into something else. We're going to talk about a butthole of the internet. It's going to be the Hailey and Selena drama. People have been so rightfully angry about this because not because they actually care, but
Yeah.
this conflict between Hailey and Selena and what happened has just infiltrated people's For You pages and
Mhm.
feeds. Like, they have literally just completely taken over. Like, I couldn't go anywhere without hearing something about it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who need like a really quick update as to like what's going on because you're not chronically online like us,
Please do.
basically Selena and Hailey, they were cool. They weren't BFFs, but they were like okay with each other. And then all of a sudden, I don't even know, but something happened. And then Hailey kind of made this like reel or TikTok being like, I'm just saying God's timing is always right. And
Yeah, I think there was like a photo of her in a bathing suit where it looked like she had like Selena had gained some weight.
oh, perfect.
I think
It's
that's what
something
it
like
was.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then basically the internet was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this to Selena. And then Haley actually took it down really quickly and was like, you guys are making it up. Like, I didn't do that. And then Selena posted up something regarding her eyebrows. Like, she got her eyebrows laminated and she said something along the
Mhm.
lines of like, my eyebrows, I got laminated, but it was too long and they're really intense now. And then 2 seconds later, Haley and Kylie Jenner
Yep.
were either on FaceTime with each other and they were both showing each other their eyebrows, and Kylie like screenshot it and put it up on her stories.
What an idiot.
And it just
Yeah.
feels like one of those things where you're like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Your world is not their world actually is not that big. You all know
Mhm.
what's going on in each other's worlds. You're
Yep.
all aware of how this is going to come across online. Like, it's like they wanted to be mean or at least to look like they're being mean, which is
Yeah.
really weird.
And then there was like other clips that surfaced, and I couldn't tell if this was like happening in the same time or if these were past clips, but apparently there was like a video of Hailey pointing to like a poster of Selena and like body shaming her. I don't know if you saw that one. I only saw it
Mm.
briefly on TikTok because a lot of this is taking off on TikTok. Like that's where the discourse is. And then also there was the Hailey making the like gagging face to Taylor Swift in like 2017, I think it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
And Selena was like, by the way, anyone who doesn't know, Kenzie is a Swiftie, like hardcore Swiftie.
I know everything.
I know.
I know
Like
everything.
like she loves her.
I
Like
do.
you have no idea.
I do.
Um, and you should see her smile right now. It's like maniacal.
I'm a mastermind.
She is in the conspiracy theories online with Taylor.
Absolutely.
Um, but anyways, and she's like, sorry, like Selena commented and she said something like, I'm sorry, my best friend is like the biggest and the best. Is that what she said?
Yeah, something like that. Right. And Haley made like a gagging face. Yes, I remember that.
So I think that's like where we're at right now. And then like the internet came for Hailey. Like they came at her. Like it was like divided between like Team Hailey, Team Selena, which no one was Team Hailey. Um like, it was so mean, Kenzie. But do you want to give us your take on this? Because I know you've been talking about it online a lot.
Yeah, no. I think that I felt like I wanted to also, it felt like a bit of mob mentality where I wanted to get in there and
Mm,
also defend Selena and say like, "Hey, why are you guys being mean to her? Like what
yeah.
is going on here?" And Selena is like the most followed person on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And there are rumors that, people like Kylie Jenner are really insecure about it.
Yeah.
And which is wild how the insecurities never go away, even when you are a Jenner or a Kardashian
Mm-hmm.
or Selena Gomez, like insecurities never go away, no matter how much influence and
Mm-hmm.
power and money you have, you are still going to
Mm-hmm.
wake up and fucking hate yourself. That's just fascinating to me.
Yep.
And Selena is not liked by these group of girls, by these women. They're not
Mm-hmm.
girls, they're women. And I wanted to get in there and defend Selena. And then I started to see the videos of people defending Selena by body and face shaming Kendall
Mm-hmm.
Jenner, Hailey Bieber, and Kylie Jenner. And I was so fucking appalled
Yeah.
by all of these girls and women online being okay with that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's no surprise. Everyone knows that Kendall and Kylie and Hailey Bieber have all had plastic surgery or have had cosmetic enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Selena. Like no one can tell me that she hasn't ever tried lip filler or that she hasn't tried filler in her face or that she hasn't tried Botox. Like all of these women get cosmetic enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
And people were saying stuff like, how could you be mean to Selena? Like, look at her in comparison to how you used to
Oh,
look. And they were bringing up photos of Kylie Jenner when she was like 13 or 14 or 15 before she started, fucking with her face. And
yeah.
they brought up photos of Hailey Bieber when she was like 12. And they brought up photos of
Oh.
Kendall before Kendall started modeling more professionally. And they were poking at the fact that their faces have radically changed so much, which is a
Mm-hmm.
conversation that people are allowed to have in terms of what are the ethics and morals that come with changing your body and changing your face when you have such a large audience. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not what the conversation was. The conversation
Yeah.
was, look at how ugly that you used to be and you
Mm-hmm.
are hating on this beautiful woman. That was the
Yeah.
conversation. And that was the part that really rubbed me the wrong way, because how could you take photos of people when they were a kid
Yeah.
and
They're kids.
tell them that they aren't attractive and then use that as a way to say that's why you're lower than Selena?
Yeah.
That is the worst thing I saw online. And I didn't see anybody call that shit out. I didn't see any feminist. I didn't see anybody say anything. I just saw thousands and millions of people being a part of
Hmm.
it. And I am in no way saying that I don't want to defend Kylie or Haley or Kendall from their choices to even have plastic surgery. Like, sure, they have agency and autonomy. They can do whatever they want. If they want to remove their head, they can do
Hmm.
that. Like, don't care. Do whatever you want to your body, do whatever you want to your face. And also, you do not shame how someone used to look or how someone looks now. Like, you don't shame
I
them.
agree.
If you want to acknowledge that they look different, that's something, that's a conversation, but you don't tell someone and insinuate that someone used to be ugly and so they can't be mean to someone now. Like, that's not that's not the that's not the lesson that we're teaching people. What are you talking about? And yeah, I got really sad and disappointed. And I got sad at all of the teenage girls that use TikTok and that use
Hmm.
Instagram that are going to come across those videos and who look like them the way that they used to look.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
there's going to be some young kid who's like, but I look like Hailey Bieber before she got plastic surgery.
Hmm.
And all of these people
Exactly.
are making fun of how Hailey Bieber used to look before plastic surgery.
Hmm.
And what is that going to do to the confidence and the body image and the self esteem of one of these young girls? Like, I just, yeah, it's really disappointing. And I wish more people were cognizant of the fact that that's body shaming.
Yeah. It's
I'm going to get
never
off.
okay to body shame.
No, it's not. It's not. Anyways, thanks for letting me talk. I appreciate it. The TED Talk is over, but just really, yeah, it was really shitty to see. It was really disappointing.
See, I only saw that a few times. But I also agree with you that like, and I don't even think it matters if they're children or not. I just think that like, how is that a valid argument? Why do looks even come into that? Especially in
Exactly.
like 2023 when everyone's like going on about like body positivity and we don't comment on people's bodies and all bodies are beautiful. And then like the first thing that people relate to is looks. Like there's no validity in
Mm,
that. And they're saying, well, they're mean girls. Like they deserve to be judged because they're mean girls. But you're doing that. You're cyberbullying them based on their looks, and that's not acceptable either. And I think something that we're not discussing enough here is the cyberbullying. Because I get that these girls were mean to Selena, and that's not acceptable, but the entire internet attacking these two girls, how is that okay in any form? Like, how are we allowing that happen? Like, I even see at Starbucks, they're putting out like tip cups for like Team Selena, Team Haley. And it's like, why are people being divided on this? And why like I actually can't comprehend this whatsoever, like to the point where they're making comments about like whether Justin actually loves Haley. Can you imagine being Haley right now where like the whole internet has turned against her and is now saying that her husband doesn't even love her after
mm,
he was with Selena on and off for 8 years? Like this would
I
be
know.
devastating. This is like, I don't care. I really don't care how mean they were to her. Like, that's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable. And there should be accountability. And at the same time, I don't think that you bullying and harassing someone is acceptable because you're doing what they did. Like, how do you
Mhm.
not see that? How do you not see that the behavior is the same?
I
Like, you're no
completely
better.
agree. I completely agree. And something that came up for me when you were saying that was, I don't know why this phrase came up in my head, is if people are acting like children, you have to treat them like children. And we
Mm,
don't tell kids that they're ugly. We don't tell adults that we're ugly, but we really don't tell kids that they're ugly. And
yeah.
meanness oftentimes comes from this like inner child that doesn't feel loved
Yeah.
or accepted or worthy. So we get mean. So that way we feel good about ourselves. That way we are like,
Hmm.
we feel like we are in power in some way. And
Yeah.
I think that if we were to actually come together as a collective of like women and girls and people who don't want to see bullying like this, if we were to come together like a
Hmm.
collective or a community, we would actually like have conversations with these women and tell them like
Yes.
you're okay. You don't need to treat people like this. Like we don't treat people like this. Like we don't treat people in the play, we don't push people off the slide in the playground. We don't push
Yeah.
people. We don't talk mean to them. We ask them how they're doing and we include them. Like people who are acting childish need to be treated like
Yep.
children. And we just don't teach children lessons by being mean back. Like we just don't. And I know,
I
again, there's
completely
like
agree with you.
a lot of nuance to that because some people are going to say, like, listen, I disrespected my parent and they whooped my ass and it was for the good. Like, I know that there's going to be someone listening to this that's saying that, but
Yeah, and that's called abuse.
for the sake of just the length of this episode, I'm not going to go there. But
Mhm.
it's how are we teaching a lesson by shaming how they used to look or how they look now? Exactly what you said. Like, we don't, that's just bullying and you're just doing the same thing to them. And that is just perpetuating the fucking cycle. Like,
I completely agree.
it's really gross. And something that you and I were talking about before this was relational aggression, which is
Yeah.
this mean girl behavior.
Mhm.
And it's specifically described with how women become aggressive with each other. Like men
Mhm.
are more physically aggressive, but women are relationally aggressive. And so it's mostly about like gossiping and tearing down status. And
Mhm.
you were saying, like, there's this intimidation and exiling people. Like, that's like all
Mhm.
very relationally aggressive.
Yeah.
And we're just perpetuating it by just shaming how these women used to look or the enhancements that they got. And it
Mhm.
doesn't sit well with me. I don't like it. I don't want it at all. And there's like TikToks saying that Hailey Bieber is not good looking and that she's doesn't have talent, and like you said, like Justin doesn't actually
Yeah.
love her, and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, we are going to create a trauma response in somebody. Like they're
This is
all
trauma. Yeah.
totally. And how does this actually helping Selena? Like, I hope that Selena doesn't feel supported when somebody talks to Hailey Bieber like that. Like, we shouldn't be doing this in the name of someone else. If Selena can think like more like an adult, which I'm assuming that she can, then she would also want people to not treat Haley in an inhumane way, you know?
I know, I completely agree with you. Like I just feel like it goes against like our values and integrity. Like you can't sit there and promote that like everyone deserves love and kindness and that bullying isn't acceptable like on your platforms and then freaking engage in it and condone it. And that's what's
Mhm.
happening here. You're condoning it. Like I personally believe that silence is violence, and this could have ended very quickly by just
Mm,
like condemning this and that it's not supportive because it's not.
mm,
Like we wouldn't teach our children's this. We wouldn't put up with it. We wouldn't accept this from our friends. So why are we accepting this online to celebrities? Like they're people too. And we
mm,
also don't know the history between them. We
mm,
don't know what's happened here. We don't know their relationship. And it could be a lot more than this. And honestly, it's not our damn business either.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. I hear you. When you say silence is violence, do you mean that, like, when an individual sees injustice and they don't call it out, that's like a bad thing to do?
Yeah, like like me and you really align on being like social justice warriors or like justice warriors and like social justice warriors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like thinking of a theme song for us. And I just feel like in these regards that like Selena could have like shut this down.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like there
Right.
could have been like a conversation to condemn that like
Mm,
cyberbullying will not be like received well from me, and this isn't
mm,
about supporting one team or another. And there's other ways to support people than to
mhm.
engage in this behavior. And it's being handled privately. And
Yeah.
I like the idea that you said too about how you could go to that person and have a conversation genuinely, address your concerns.
Hmm.
And I think like online, anyone who had anything to say about Haley was like threatened with cancellation immediately. Like
Right.
there's not allowed to have any empathy, any understanding for whoever is considered the villain.
And that's like always so interesting because haven't we all at one point been the villain?
Hell yeah.
And isn't a villain born a baby and then something happens that makes them like that? Like, haven't we all watched Disney movies? Like, the villain always lost their mom or their dad or something bad happened to them. And doesn't it make sense to like, for some people, to work with the villain and work with unpacking what's going on and why they felt the need to do that to another human? Like, we can't just like tell people to eat shit and fuck off and go rot and die and no one loves you and your marriage is a sham and you're fucking ugly and no matter how much plastic surgery you get you'll always be ugly. We can't expect a person to say like, you know what, you're so right, now I'm going to treat everyone kind and I just learned all of my lessons and everything is just going to be right and okay in the world.
No, I completely agree with you. And also, why does it matter if someone is ugly or pretty? There is no value there. Like, I don't
Right.
understand like why that matters. Like, you can be an ugly troll piece of shit
Hmm.
and like
Hmm.
that doesn't like that has no value in this conversation whatsoever. And like honestly, these girls aren't ugly. Like they're models, they're celebrities, like they meet the beauty standards. Like I just it feels so petty. It feels like I
Totally.
can't imagine
Just
Kenzie walking up to you and being like, 5 years ago, you're so fucking ugly.
that's like, well, that's like another thing is that I ended up wondering like if I ever did something wrong that the internet didn't like, which is going to be very real probably at the end of this episode, but if I ever did something that the internet didn't like, are they going to find photos of me as a kid and tell me that I'm ugly? Because that would hurt me so much just
Yeah.
because the photos that they would pull up of me, I was going through so much at that time. Like that would put a knife in the most tender spot of my heart. And
Yeah.
it just made me a little bit nervous of what we think is okay for shit to go around online, like what's normalized.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And this also brings me back to the whole thought of like mental health and about
Mhm.
people say they like love people and they support them when they're struggling with mental health. But in reality, we don't, because if you did, you would let these people grow and heal and learn from this experience. But
Mm.
you're not giving them that support or understanding because we know Selena struggles with her mental health. We don't know what Haley's situation is. We don't know what Justin's situation is. We don't know Kylie's situation. Like, how does someone not have a nervous breakdown from this?
Yeah, so well said. I think that's a perfect place to end off this episode. Do
Yes.
you have any last thoughts about anything that we said today? We talked a lot. We talked about the Oscars, Ozempic face. We talked about Gwyneth. We talked about IVs, your favorite. We talked about buttholes for a while.
I love IVs. Like if I can get an IV, I tried to get one on the weekend. Like I love them. If you haven't got one, I highly recommend it with a nice B12 and a D vitamin shot. They're great.
Okay,
Okay.
everyone. So
Do you
that's the
do
that's
you
the
have any
last thought of the
do
of the
you
day.
what's your last thought?
I'm gonna try to go get an IV after this, obviously.
Well, you're in Vancouver. They're probably everywhere.
Yeah,
You can get people to come to your house.
God, I'm not Gwyneth and I'm okay.
Honestly, it's going to change your life after you take a bunch of flights somewhere. That's what she said. She just got home from a flight.
Yeah, she did say that. You're right. Yeah, maybe when
Imagine
I
if you came
fly,
home from Thailand and you had an IV, you'd be like back on it the next day. You'd be ready to go.
I bet you it's like $1,000 to get
An
someone to
IV is like
come to.
$150.
Yes, honestly, that's still really expensive. That's
I'm
still
like,
really
it's
expensive.
so cheap. This is why you need to date a doctor or a
Okay.
nurse.
Yeah, that I will get right on.
So is there any nurses or doctors listening? You
Yeah,
want to
so
grab
hook
us
us
some
up.
banana bags?
Please hook us up. Is that what they're called?
I don't know. I think so. I heard it on a show once.
I heard it on Grey's Anatomy. It must be true.
Okay, that's 100% where I heard it.
No, I don't have any last thoughts. I think we talked thoroughly about this, and I think that these conversations are forever forever evolving and forever going on, and I think
Mhm.
it is always interesting what's going on online and what's going on in Hollywood. It's always
I
fascinating to me.
agree. I agree. Now drop our Patreon. We got a Patreon, y'all.
Yes, if you want to support the show, then you can subscribe to any platform that hosts the show and give us 5 stars and comment. That would mean so, so much to us. We also
Mhm.
have a Patreon, which is a really exciting space on the internet that we're carving out. And we've got some things that we're offering there. You can click the link in the show notes and head over there right now and become a monthly subscriber there and talk to us, request topics, request things that we
Mhm.
can chat about. And we're going to be posting up different and private episodes on there, as well as Zoom chats, all of the things with yours truly. But until then, and until the next episodes, Kayla,
Yeah.
we'll see you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.